Vice-Chancellor, lecturers, parents, and teachers. It's a great honor to be invited to speak at a graduation ceremony at the Cape University of Technology. I've spoken fairly often at WITS and UJ, which was my home, and I now feel as though I've broken through into Cape Town society that I've been invited. Cape Town's quite hostile to government officials. So thank you for inviting me, and thank you that there's no question and answer session. I would have given the questions to Minister Manuel. But it is an absolute delight to be at something where we can celebrate education. Much of my life is concerned with solving problems. Also, thank you for this beautiful gown. I arrived with my Witsy gown and was presented with this, and I think I'll keep it. It's very beautiful. It's time for us as parents, government officials, principals, and civil society to stop making trite statements about teaching being an honorable profession. We must treat teachers as though it is an honorable profession. And we've set out to do this in the Western Cape in 5 ways. The most important thing is to listen to our teachers. Our teachers have told us that we interrupt their teaching and their lives with unplanned actions. And so we've committed in the Western Cape, and I hope you receive this, to provide a planning calendar in September of the previous year to the coming academic year, so that teachers know exactly what is happening the next year. Teachers, if somebody tries to impose something on you in the middle of the year, show them the planning calendar and say, let's wait for the next year. The second thing the teachers find as their classes increase and their demands on them increase is that the planning for their lessons is very demanding. As a result, as the national government has provided workbooks for the grades 1 to 6 that has taken away much of the planning work that teachers have had to do. They're really beautiful. In the Western Cape, over the next 3 years, we will provide textbooks for every single child, for every subject. There again, these beautiful textbooks based on the new CAPS documents will provide teachers with all the material that they require, and then the odd worksheet rather than the worksheet that they have to plan and develop being the norm. The third thing the teachers told us was that the current curriculum documents were underspecified and in some cases vague and contradictory. What has now been developed under Minister Motshekga is a single document that sets out all the teaching requirements, the pace and sequencing, and the assessment requirements. These will be gazetted in April, and we'll start to implement in 2012, another step towards reducing teacher load. The fourth thing teachers told us was that there was much undue administration that they have to go through, filling in forms. One day, one part of the Western Cape Education Department asks you to fill in a form, the next day you get another form. We've tried to centralize that. We don't think we've cracked that problem yet, but please let us know how we may do this so that we can go into 2012 with a decent reduction in your administrative tasks. The fifth thing that teachers said to us is that and we see it when we look at our personal system and we see it when we go to schools, is there too many teachers in acting positions, principals in acting positions. In case of principals, we've reduced this right down to 51. And our target by the end of this year is when we go into 2012, there will be not one acting principal, but that we will have appointed principals. And the way we've done this, and I hope you get your hands on these, is we've moved from 2 vacancy lists to 5 vacancy lists. And because we have become, it seems, an employer of choice, in our first vacancy list this year, we received 17,000 applications. We have to prioritize, and we've decided we're going to prioritize our principals, our leaders of our schools, and our foundation-phase teachers, because they set the foundation for all further learning. And what we promise here is that if our school governing bodies get their applications in time and correct, we will turn it around in 10 days so that the appointment can be made quickly. This week, my dream came true when I received applications for principal posts for January 2012. In other words, we're starting to plan so that there can be no destabilization of the system with one principal leaving deputy principal leaving, and that position having to be replaced. So teachers in training and teachers who in practice, please look out for the vacancy lists. We're also making sure that when I look at you, the young, smart, diverse group of people that come out of this university are placed and have a trajectory so that in your early 40s you can move up to being a principal. We need energetic people of integrity leading our schools. The sixth thing and the last thing the teachers said to us is that the communication from the Western Cape Education Department is lacking. And so I now write at the beginning and end of every term to our teachers, saying what we're going to be doing, providing encouragement, and asking you to let us know how we may improve our service to you. Our service indicators, the audits that we've done, suggest that we're getting a little bit better, but we're not there yet. The hits on our website have hit the 1 million mark this year, and again, we're starting to see improved communication, but we haven't cracked the problem completely. Teachers, I don't have a message for you. I've been out of the classroom for 15 years. But let me tell you about why I was so lucky. I had parents, one was a teacher, and one was from a poor family who, in traditional South African way, brothers left school so that he could go to university. And he was he claimed to be a very democratic man. He said, I've got 3 daughters and I'm a great Democrat and you can do anything you like as long as you become a teacher. As the oldest, I resisted. I did not want to be a teacher. But I had to. That was his instruction. And guess what? I think 30 years later, it's the greatest profession to be in, with lots of opportunities. The second lucky thing that I've had is that we live in a province where there are leaders that I come across daily who have stuck with this really difficult task. And you are led by your dean. Your dean has been a dean for 8 years, from that very tumultuous time when we incorporated colleges into universities. And she stuck with it under the most trying of circumstances, with policies changing, with a lot of uncertainty. She remains, Maureen Robertson, a model of what we should be as teachers. We've got to stick with this difficult task. You do not create a nation overnight. You create it by making sure that for every one of the 200 days of every academic year, our children are receiving tuition. They do not get enough of it. And what Maureen and so many of the women of my age tell me in this province is that if we stick with role models like that, and we make sure that every day we get up, however tiring it might be, however naughty the children may be, however troublesome the parents may be, but that we get into the classroom and we make sure that we give that next young cohort of South Africans the opportunity to escape their poverty and their ignorance and become wonderful citizens of a great South Africa. That's our job. Maureen, well done.